Good morning, everyone. I'll wait just a second for Ben. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Town of Sylva Board of Commissioners regular meeting to order. And I have not heard back from there. There he comes. So we will start our meeting now. I would like for us to start with our agenda and approve it. I would need a motion to approve our agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Okay. David, I'll take yours, and all those in favor. Is there any discussion about it? Then all those in favor. Amanda, if you can do our roll.
David?
You need verbal? Yes.
Natalie? Here. Greg?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Thank you. Then we have a consent agenda attached to the agenda, and I guess everyone has looked at it, and I would ask for a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Then Amanda, please take the roll.
David?
Yes.
Natalie? Here. Greg?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Thank you all. Now comes the time for public comment. Do we have anyone, Amanda, that wishes to make public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then we will move on to reports. The only thing that I would like to say is I was very happy to hear about the free Wi-Fi downtown. And so I would just like to take all of the partners, thank all of you that were involved in that. I know I'll miss some of them, but the Chamber, Southwestern Commission, TDA, the EDC for the county, the building owners, thank you, Greg, and Balsam West and Sky-Fi for the help. It'll be a wonderful addition downtown and help people that don't have good access to internet. And that's all I have. David.
Yeah, I would like to go ahead and schedule another meeting with the county to discuss housing. At our last meeting, the things we were waiting on was sort of get a scoring system for properties in the area. And I've gotten that, which is a scoring system for LIHTC funding. And I have a list of properties, and I've scored them as best I can. Not really being an expert in that system, but I think I've got a good list of potential properties. And then the last thing we were waiting on was some better guidance for ARP funds, and we have that now. So I think, if Paige and Linda, if we can have some discussions after the meeting or this week about scheduling another meeting with the county, if the rest of the board is okay with that. And that's all I have. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, David. And we can check with Paige's schedule. I know she has a managers meeting sometime next week, but I'm not sure, but we'll talk about it. Thank you. Natalie.
Good morning. I don't have much. Just want to say thank you to everyone to help get us through the snow and ice, I guess, in some areas. Jake and his team. I know that they had some delays on trash pickup, but they were able to get it all done. I know my trash got picked up at my house, so so I appreciate everyone's hard work and helping get us through that. So
Yes. And thank you, Natalie. I agree with all of that. Jake and you and your team did a great job with the snow removal. Greg.
No report today. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Mary.
I would love to echo Natalie's report. Thanks, Jake. A great job on the snow removal. I mentioned this at another meeting, and I can't remember if I said it correctly, but a resident was asking about Shulman Street being two-way. I can't remember why it isn't. So maybe at another meeting, you can remind me why it isn't, or if it could be. And then also at the bottom of Landis Street, where the large brick building is that I think formerly housed Jewelry Outlet, is a little bit of a blind spot for folks trying to make a left-hand turn. And I'm wondering if we can put a mirror at the bottom for better visibility, making a left-hand turn down Landis Street. That's it.
Yeah, we'll explore that. Sure, absolutely.
Thank you, Mary. Ben.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry I missed the last meeting. Just wanted to remind everybody that, COVID is still kind of ripping through the community and still seeing lots and lots of cases. Wastewater monitoring is through the roof. And we don't always see what's going on when we're out in our daily lives, but I can tell you that, the healthcare, the state of the healthcare in Western North Carolina, it is in kind of dire straits. Every place is full. That continues to be the issue. Unvaccinated people still are the bulk of the folks that are getting hospitalized and getting really sick. So I just want to ask folks to continue to mask with an N95, a really good mask. The cloth and surgical masks just aren't really going to do it anymore. So N95 masks, they make sure you get a good one. There's some fake ones on Amazon or whatever. So there are places you can get good ones. The health department can help you find that. Just go through their site. Also just gonna, avoiding the big crowds, doing everything kind of keep this from passing to person. I encourage everybody to go just Google United States Postal Service and free COVID kits. They will send you 4 kits. Every household is eligible for 4 kits for free. And those are great to know if you're not feeling right, going to an event or a family get together. You can do a quick swab and, just kind of help avoid the spread. And, please keep thinking of our healthcare workers. They continue to be under lots and lots of strain with all of this. And with that said, too, testing, the emergency room, urgent care, especially the emergency room is not the place to find out if you have COVID, so you can go on a trip or whatever. If you're sick, go to the emergency room or urgent care. If you're not sick and just want to get tested, Jackson County is offering free testing for rapid as well as PCR. Just go to their website. There's a setup. It's actually Medical Park Loop behind the backside of the hospital over there. And it's really easy to get in and get out. And that is really helpful. Other completely different subjects. The shut in and Black Rock Trails project is moving forward. RFP closed on the 24th. In the next couple of weeks, they're going to be looking to make a decision on the master planner. I know that they've the tribe's been out there kind of looking at issues as far as access goes. We're going to get a kind of more official update tomorrow. So when I get some more information, I will bring that to the board, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Ben. You may know this, but do you know where they have free N95 masks in town or in the county?
I don't know where there's free N95s. I know, again, that's another one of these, programs that's supposed to happen where the feds are supposed to send us some. Everyone can get free N95s sent to their house, but I'm not sure. But there is a website, and I will find it. It tells you kind of where to go to get quality N95 masks. But N95 is just, it's period. That's the way to go at this point in time. I mean, if you got to wear anything helps, but what really makes a big difference are the N95s.
Thank you, and thank you for your report. Next is the manager's report. Paige.
Good morning. I just have a few things. I've been working on the fire department research about a split volunteer paid department. As far as employment updates, Jim Howell, the public works crew leader, is retiring after 18 years with the town. His last day is Monday, so please congratulate him when you see him. And Sergeant Zach Stiles has taken a job with the sheriff's department to work a day shift as a school resource officer. I'm leaving this Tuesday afternoon for the North Carolina City County Managers Conference in Winston-Salem. It's Wednesday through Friday, so please call me if anything comes up. And I'm looking forward to our budgeting work session right after this meeting. And from what I can remember on Schulman Street, it needs another phase on the signalized intersection and another pole beside of Wells Fargo. I'm thinking it was probably 2013 or 14 when we had that quoted by DOT. And at that time, the cost was $70,000. So if the board's interested in looking to an updated cost, bring that up in the budget work session. That's all I have.
Thank you, Paige. Next is Public Works. Jake.
Good morning, everybody. On January the 6th, we deinstalled Harriet Tubman, sent her safely on her way to Philadelphia. I'd like to thank the NAACP for all their work bringing her here. That I think a whole lot of people got to enjoy that while it was here. So I'm sure you've noticed by now the radar speed sign is back up on Mill Street. This new one is solar equipped, so it can charge itself. We don't have to run out there every couple of days and replace batteries. We do still have a battery capability in the event that we wanted to do a traffic study or somewhere else or something somewhere else. So, well, that's a pretty versatile tool now. And we did move it high enough, so maybe it won't get knocked off again. We've been doing a lot of pothole patching, right-of-way trimming around town. You've probably seen the guys, and road maintenance as the weather allows. We received our Can-Am utility vehicle earlier this month. We've already had it to Pinnacle Park twice. We can get up there and back in about 30 minutes now. That was an all-day affair in a pickup truck. So it's already helping us a lot, keeping that trail clear and doing maintenance. So we appreciate that. That's a very valuable tool. Completed this year's Tree City USA application. The Arbor Day celebration will be at Greening Up the Mountains this year. And yeah, the snow event, nobody missed the snow event. We did dodge a bit of a bullet. It could have been a lot worse than it was. I would like to extend a special thanks to the Public Works team. They did a fantastic job, worked a lot of long hours. So if you see them, give them a pat on the back. They did a great job. And as Paige mentioned, the crew leader, Jim Howell, is retiring. Jim didn't want any fanfare. I asked him if he wanted to come to this meeting, and he absolutely did not. So we fed him some lunch late last week, and I've got a few words there. Jim started in 2004 and has been an 18-year member of the Public Works Department. Many of you, I'm sure, know Jim. He's gregarious and has never met a stranger. Jim's warm and kind demeanor has garnered him many friends in and outside town limits. In the 3 years that I've known him, I've never seen him down or negative, and he's always quick with a joke, especially with the younger guys on the Public Works team. In retirement, Jim hopes to spend more time camping at Lake Chatuge and will still be operating his mowing business part-time. I speak for the entire Public Works Department when I say that Jim is absolutely one of a kind, and we're all going to miss him very much. Enjoy your retirement, Jimbo. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jake. And I think our board would say, hear, hear, that's exactly what we would say. So we could all do a little plaque for him. So thank you. And please let him know that we've appreciated all of his years.
Absolutely will.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Then we will move to the police department, and I believe John Thomas is here.
Yes, good morning. We don't have much of a report. I guess administratively, we're finishing the grant writing process here at the end of the month to influx some capital into our budget for next year for some equipment needs. Actively in the hiring process to replace our vacant detective position. And we'll soon be again recruiting for a vacant sergeant position and still a vacant officer position.
Thank you, John. And then we will move on to the fire department report. Mallory?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everybody. We really don't have anything to report. I just want to point out that our call totals for 2021 for January was 35 calls. And as of this morning, we reached 66. So we have doubled how many calls we've run from last year to this year. So we're keeping that in mind with everything else we're pursuing. That's all I've got.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The Main Street report, Bernadette.
Good morning. We've got our board fully staffed, our volunteer board. We have 9 members now. So I'm very excited about that. And we are still working on rebuilding the committee since COVID, but it's going very well. We updated the map and brochure, and that's in production now. So we'll have that with all of our new merchants on it. And Kendra is working on greening up the mountains and getting everything going on the plans for that, along with being shadowed by Mark Haskett, who's the director of Mountain Heritage Festival. And he and his wife are doing a great job helping out, since this will be Kendra's last year doing greening up the mountains. And we've been working on getting all the bands. So we have all the bands lined up for greening up the mountains and concerts on the creek. So that feels good to have that in process. And then Lynn has been working on implementing online applications and payments. So that will really help with greening up the mountains and other events to be able to have folks just to do that online. And that's it.
Thank you, Bernadette. Planning board report.
The planning board met Thursday and gave their approval for the draft version of the zoning ordinance with a few technical corrections that still need to be made. So we're on track for the public hearing February the 10th. Last week, we mailed letters to every property owner in the tax system. So notifying them of the public hearing on the zoning map and ordinance rewrite, and also the land use plan.
Thank you, Paige, for that report. Next is TWASA, David.
Yeah, so our first January meeting was canceled, and our second meeting last week. I was not able to attend. I was out of town on work. So I'll just add the January report onto the February, and I'll get an update at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. That finishes our reports. Now let's move on to new business. The first item is a special event request from Innovation Brewing for a brew garden at Greening Up the Mountains. You have that in your packet. Bernadette, do you want to speak to that, or Paige?
Bernadette has been working with Nicole at Innovation to secure the to do the layout and secure the vendors for the beer garden at Greening at the Mountains. It will be the same as it was in August, where it covers the whole grass area and they're blocked in with the fencing that we have, the rec department has, and then with vendor booths.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve this request?
I'll make that motion that we approve the request.
So we have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion of this? Does anybody have any questions of Paige or Bernadette? Then I will ask Amanda to do the roll call for the vote.
David,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
All right. That is approved. So if someone will let Nicole know, and she can finish getting all of the vendors. The next item on our agenda is a social district proposal, and it's a discussion only. So I would like us to start that discussion with either Paige or Bernadette giving us information about it.
Sure, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview so that way you can start thinking about this. I sent everyone a kind of a background document on what we're proposing, but basically in September, the state signed a House bill that allows municipalities and counties to vote on a social district ordinance that would allow folks to be able to carry a drink purchased at a permitted vendor throughout the district. And there's a lot of rules around that to make it safe, but basically you create your outdoor area, which I have a map in that packet that kind of shows a proposed district. And basically the requirements are demarking the district with signage. The drink must be served in a cup that's no more than 16 ounces, and it can't be glass, and it has to have certain markings on it. But you can kind of take a look at that in that packet. And so it can only be sold by someone within the district. Folks can carry those around and into retail shops unless they opt out. They cannot carry those into another permit holder's location. So you can't take a beer from Innovation and into Nantahala. You would have to have consumed that before you go in there because all of the liability is on the seller. Let's see. We did quite a bit of research on this. Sat in on a webinar with Mobile, Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, Lansing, Michigan, and I actually went to Kannapolis, North Carolina, which is the only North Carolina city that has it fully implemented, to study how that they have done things. And that was a good precursor for the background work that we did, meeting with the Sylva Police Department, Town Council, a couple of ALE agents, local ALE agents, and Nicole from Innovation Brewing also spoke with her attorney. So we kind of brainstormed with all the potentials and what we could do to make this safe if we were to pass the ordinance. The proposed map would span from Nantahala Brewing to Innovation Brewing on Main and Mill, and include Bridge Park. But Bridge Park would only be an allowable area unless there were a permit holder there at an event selling alcohol. So in that case, Bridge Park would become a permitted location that you couldn't bring alcohol into, but you could take it out of. So for Granny Up the Mountains, Hook, Line, and Drinker, you could no longer bring it in there, but you could for Concerts on the Creek. And then, our next steps would be to hold a public input meeting to vote on the ordinance. And then if it's passed, we would record the social district plan with the ABC Commission at the state level. And then implement it with a merchant information center session, allow folks to opt in or out, and then place the required signage in the district and acquire the stickers and other communication programs for folks who would come in and take part in this. So do you guys have any questions?
Any discussion? I had a question looking at the map, Bernadette. I'm not sure it goes all the way down to Innovation Brewing.
Yeah, I
It's
believe
supposed
that.
to, right?
What's that?
I said it's supposed to. Maybe the map's off.
Yeah, it could be. I think that's that last building there is Innovation. Pie Times and Innovation side by side.
I thought that was the big Jackson General. The places are off, but could we double check that to see
Sure.
if we need to
Adjust that.
adjust that? Does anybody else have any questions? Jake?
Yeah, Bernadette, if this were to pass, then for events like Greening Up the Mountains and Hook, Line, and Drinker, would that eliminate the need for a delineated beer garden at that time?
Yes, if we have the proper district signage in place, it would eliminate that.
Well, wait a minute. Would it? I mean, if all of a sudden, so say I've got my, Balsam Falls cup, and I want to walk down into the area that's at Bridge Park. If someone else other than than Balsam Falls is serving in there, I can't go in there. That's how I read this.
Correct. And
right. So you're going to need to have some kind of, some kind of barrier there, because you still can't take things in and out, and then it gets a little crazy here. So like if you're down at the beer garden at the festival, and then you got your cup that says Innovation, can you take that same cup, but then you got to have a different cup that says Balsam Falls and another cup that says whoever's serving down there, you got to get each cup. You can't just have like a beer garden cup. You have to have a different cup from each one, right? Is that right?
actually, yes, what Kannapolis does is they use stickers and they put the sticker over the previous seller so that the cup can be reused. And what I envision for Bridge Park is temporary signage that says, basically this is a permit holder and you cannot enter. Because when we talked with ALE and our local police department, the onus is on the individual to obey the district laws. We're not going to have police marked at every edge of the district. It's the liability is then on that person to stay within the district with the signage.
I had similar questions about Bridge Park, since that is public property, that it belongs to the town. I wasn't sure how just one vendor could, one person, I guess, seller of alcohol would be able to have the whole place. I know we're talking about like with, can you explain how greening up will work?
Sure. And this is, something that we need to discuss further. Should we pass the ordinance, how we would handle Bridge Park specifically to get to everyone's comfort level with that. There's the law, and then there's what we're comfortable with. But each permit holder, when they're at Greening Up the Mountains, they will put a sticker on the cup that marks their particular business so that we know that they use their permit to sell that that drink. So that, you know, and typically we just have multiple vendors. We usually don't have just one seller. I know we had in the past when this first started, but it becomes a permit holder location at that point. Now we can mark it however we want to. We can delineate it however we want to. We can go into the parking lots or we can stay within the grassy area, but we'll just need to mark that with temporary signage during events.
Yeah, that's the only thing about it that really I can't quite grasp yet how it's going to
Sure.
work with only one vendor, or if you have hook, line, and drinker, you've got probably 5 or 6 people that are selling alcohol. So can you have just one sticker for the event, or do you have to have 5 stickers on your glass?
No, you don't need 5 stickers, but if you're only drinking one drink at a time. So if Balsam Falls sold you that beer, you'll have a Balsam Falls sticker on it. When you have consumed it and you want to buy an innovation beer, they would put their sticker over the Balsam Falls sticker. So whoever the permit holder is that sold you that individual drink is the mark that has to be on the cup.
Thank you. Anybody else have questions? Have you read through the document? Greg?
Yeah, so are we in the discussion thing? Are we discussing, are we doing, we're open, floor's open now. We can all dive
Yes,
in.
the floor is open for discussion.
Well, before we even get going too far, Bernadette, like obviously you've done a ton of work on this, and I just want to say appreciate it very much. So everything you've gone in there. So I think Greg's got something though.
Yeah, Greg.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, there's lots of signage and cups and stickers, and is this going to be something that the town is responsible for, or is that the vendors are responsible for that stuff?
That's a good question. Our specific plan, we would have the vendors to be responsible for that, but we would need to create a sticker to give to the vendors that says Sylva Social District, drink responsibly, B21. That's the requirement from the state. So that would be the only thing that we would need to provide to them, and that they would have to, if they're going to opt in, they would have to provide the cup and their own sticker.
So yeah, so since we're gonna, because it's just like the logistics of this thing are the part that kind of gives me a little pause. So what if I walk in? What if I've got my clean canteen and I want to put some beer in it, and instead of getting a plastic cup, because one of the issues I have with this is creating all this garbage. And seeing these cups, I don't want to be out paddling and then fishing all these cups out of the river. That's one of my big concerns. But so if you go in with your own cup thing, your clean canteen, can you put a sticker on it? Does it have to be like the town issued cup or whatever, as long as it's not glass?
It does not, but it has to be under 16 ounces. And it has to have all the correct marks on it.
So what the marks or that drink responsibly 21 thing, can that be another sticker? Like,
Yes.
does it, okay. So I could go in there and fill up my less than 16 ounce. I mean, can I fill up a coffee mug, I'm just kind of thinking because it makes it, everybody's carrying around water bottles these days. And, can they just fill up their water bottle as long as it's less than 16 ounces? Can they fill that up and just put the stickers on it and then it's okay?
Yeah, it would be according to the comfort of the permit holder. I know that some folks, especially during the pandemic, have not been willing to fill other folks' containers just because they don't want it, the water faucet touching it, or the tap, which I would imagine in breweries, they're going to have a hard time doing that because the faucet of the tap system does sit on the side of the container.
But there is the option, I guess. We could work through that kind of thing. So we don't
Sure.
have to, it doesn't have to be just a ton of plastic cups that are all over the place.
Sure. And those cups can be reused at different places, because you do have to have consumed all of it before you enter another permit holder. And they can just put the sticker on top of the old one.
Yeah, I was going to point out, I think this would actually generate less cups than the current model if people are putting stickers on cups and reusing them. It's certainly not ideal, but we get, I mean, I can tell you firsthand how many cups are generated at the beer garden, Evergreen and up the mountains. So if people are at least reusing the same cup with a new sticker, that's a step in the right direction. Anyway, just a thought.
Natalie.
If they're reusing the plastic cup in establishments, wouldn't you run into the same issues as if what Ben is saying, bringing your own cup? So someone's already drank out of it if you're reusing those plastic cups.
Yes, as far as sanitation. So the permit holders, they can make their own rules as far as if they can reuse that container or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. Are they going to not want to reuse the plastic cup? Again, then we go right back to it. If the vendors are not they don't want to refill a used cup, like, no, here's our new plastic cup, then we go backwards again. So like I said, this was my number one issue with this is garbage generation of, downcyclable material.
Right. The city of Mobile uses paper cups. It's not ideal for those who enjoy drinking out of glass or plastic over that, but they're compostable cups. That's an option too that we could look at.
I think those are things that can be worked out later after we get the social district established. But I don't know what other questions or discussion does anyone have? David?
Go ahead. You go first.
So first of all, thanks for doing this, Vern. I was very excited to see this change in North Carolina law, because I think a lot of our alcohol laws are very antiquated. My only questions are, so determining the map, like you get good input from the downtown establishments on sort of how to draw that line. Like I noticed, like the hotel at the end of Maine isn't on it. Would they maybe want to be included so guests could bring, walk around downtown and get back to their hotel with their drinks? So just curious, like how the map was drawn and how difficult it would be to amend it in the future. I imagine just a public hearing and then change our signage. Just how easy is it to adapt this after we were to pass it? And then the time frames that you have on there. Is that input from vendors, the 9 p.m. stop time, or just what went into that? Is that a requirement?
Sure. Greg and I worked on this quite a bit since he lives downtown and works downtown part of the time, just to kind of get a good sense of what the parameters would be. We did get input from the merchants, and I would be happy to include the hotel if they wanted that, but they haven't responded to me. And I know they had some family death they had to go out of the country for. So that could be part of it. But the map can be amended quite easily. And most of all those cities that I mentioned that I did research on, except for Kannapolis because they're brand new, have amended their district based on new merchants coming in. And it's been fairly easy for them to do. I'm not sure what their process was, if they, just amended the ordinance for each time that they wanted to redraw the map. So we can have some flexibility there. We just kind of did it based on permit holders and the contiguous line of folks being able to walk from place to place. Kannapolis does have some holes in the middle of their map, but I believe that's because they're public buildings that can't have alcohol in it. But for the most part, you can walk around each of those. So does that help with the map situation? David? Yeah.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
when Greg and I were talking about the district times, a lot of those cities started out with a test period. But what happened with that test period, like they only did weekends to start, is there was a lot of confusion with folks as the district times changed and the days of the week changed. So we wanted to come out of the gate with something that we felt like we could manage. And so the social district time that we have proposed is to end at 9 p.m. because that's when Concerts on the Creek ends. And so that would, still allow people to bring a drink down there. But, in consulting with the Sylva Police Department, most of the issues that they encounter are after 11. And there really would be no reason for anyone to move around because there's no retailer that's open past 9. We hope that this will encourage them to be open at least on the weekends, more in the evening, maybe a little bit later. But we felt like there really wouldn't be a reason for people to move around at night, past 9 o'clock.
Mary.
I wanted to first off wonder about policing. Our police department has trouble having a full staff. We have not had someone on Main Street for quite some time. Would this sort of implementation mean that we would have a full-time officer in this district or on a regular basis? Because I'm thinking like beer gardens, greening up, any kind of major event that requires alcohol also requires police staffing. So I want to just kind of hear a conversation about that aspect.
Sure. John, I don't know if you want to address that.
Just real fast on that. We would love to have someone downtown full time. It's just a matter of the enormous challenge that we are having in law enforcement as a whole in this area, and then of course throughout the country with recruiting, hiring, and even retention. As Bernadette said, it is accurate. Alcohol-related calls in the downtown area are limited to later in the night, and they generally occur in one particular area, and they tend to occur more frequently when the university is in session. So from a police department's perspective, we don't see this as being a tremendous strain on resources at this moment.
And John, there's 2 officers on at night, at least.
At least 2. That's the minimum staffing that we have.
And so I kind of am thinking like along the lines of like cars being left overnight, the patrolling of minors drinking, the patrol of cars maybe being in the parking place for a longer amount of time. Just all the whatevers about that kind of has some concerns for me. But then also I wanted to just bring up, there's a lot of businesses in the B1 district that are not alcohol, whether it's a legal, like a law office or, a business like my parents or In Your Ear Music, businesses that maybe are not alcohol or any kind of food or drink permitted. I guess I have concerns. I read in there about that kind of being, businesses are welcome to opt out, but they would provide their own signage that they're opt out. And then I guess I wonder about the customer service or the welcoming aspect, if that would make that business not look as welcoming because they would have to have these signs that say, no, not permitted, that kind of thing. Like I'm kind of concerned about the welcomeness of the community feel when those sorts of signs have to be put out there by these businesses.
Sure. And, right now we already have several retailers that don't allow food or drink. Mm-hmm. And that signage is, pretty much covers like that's a drink. You can't bring it in there.
Right.
And I would imagine they won't change that, the ones who have it, because it's typically the retailers who have a tighter space or higher end merchandise that they don't want anything to be spilled on. And right. After visiting Kannapolis, there were a few that were marked that folks couldn't come in. non-alcohol specific, but
Right.
more just food and drink.
Right. And then has there been a conversation with any kind of like bartenders, servers, tips, keeping their customers in their space, the ambiance, like innovations, ambiance, like that's part of what you're buying. You're not just buying the beer, you're playing darts with your buddies. And I just wonder, like, what's the spur to have it come out of your location?
For the most part, since we're a tourist town, what we see is, a family will be at Innovation. They're having a drink, mom and the kids want to move on to the next place, go shopping or whatever. And dad downs the rest of his beer really quick to get out of there. And so, because we looked at it from several different perspectives and in talking with, the breweries in the area and Jackie at the Cut, and they all kind of agree that that aspect of it would probably make things slow down a little bit. The retention aspect right now, we have a passport program that encourages folks to visit all of the breweries. And all the breweries were on board with that. They get a free pint glass at the end of it. The TDA has put that into place. And so they know that's going to happen regardless with tourists because, beer tourism is a huge thing now, ale trails and things like that. So from the brewery's perspective, they're okay with that. They're somewhat concerned about things like concerts on the creek, but then they know that they will actually get at least a sale, 1 or 2 sales, for that time period that they wouldn't get otherwise because people would, just be staying down there, maybe come before or after.
And I have one final concern to just bring up. I was part of the Concerts on the Creek inception when I worked at the chamber. And I remember there was some concerns about having family-oriented concerts that did not involve alcohol versus did. And you can be family-oriented and have alcohol, but some feel you can't. And that was a concern. And I'm wondering what that perception or what that feeling would be for those folks that feel that way, that alcohol shouldn't be at all the concerts on the creek. I remember a conversation Nicole and I had where I said, I like to drink beer. I like to have music, but can't we have more events, not less events, like have Friday nights, no alcohol, Saturday nights, have alcohol. I'd like to see more events as opposed to having it be blanketed that that's just the scene.
Sure.
So that was just a concern I had before that I still have.
And that'll be interesting to see the public's perception when we have the public input meeting. Just personally, I think that, folks bringing a beer to the concert within the district is different than having hook, line, and drinker where you have 5 breweries.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Natalie.
Sorry, thanks, Bernadette. I would say one of the positives, though, to people being able to take the beverage out of an establishment, I know something that I've run into before, and especially during the pandemic, is crowding in bars. And I think that's one of the positives is that people can go outside and drink. And it may even open up more space for these businesses to be able to get more people in to purchase versus people seeing that it's too crowded or not being able to get to the bar and things like that. So just wanted to throw that out there.
That's a good point. And, with Brew Hop coming up in April, we are considering capping. Well, we are going to consider capping all of the ticket sales at a certain number because the pandemic will still be in full swing and we don't want to just crowd a bunch of people within the establishments.
Ben, did you have a question?
Yeah, I guess just like the goal of this thing, I think to me, I don't think the goal is to kind of create Bourbon Street here, where it's like a 24/7 party zone. It seems more the goal is, folks are out, dad wants to finish his wine and take it with him, and mom wants to finish her beer, and so they can walk out and just maybe sit on the park bench. So it's more just like I don't feel like it's like encouraging alcoholism and public inebriation. It's more just kind of making something that's happening already just a little more less restrictive. And that's why like my issues with it are more just like the implementation with the cups and the stickers and all that kind of stuff. I would really want to make sure that we just, make it and being able to use, someone brings in their own cup, be great or whatever. So that's my issue. But I think that's the big thing is like, I want to make it clear to the public. I don't think we're trying to like make Sylva like your party destination. And I don't think I don't think this is going to do that. I think it's just going to make it a little more convenient. What's happening already.
Thank you, Ben. And
There's certain hours, right? I mean, it lasts until 9. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. And just to add to what Ben was saying, this was the North Carolina Retail Merchants Association was the major interest group pushing for the passage of this, because with the pandemic, online retail purchasing became such a thing that this would kind of level the playing field for them because they don't have ABC permits, and their foot traffic has decreased. So they were the ones behind this.
Greg.
Yeah, I just want to bring it back to marketing a little bit. So I just want to make sure that we've got all these cups, we've got stickers, we've got delineated area signs, we have opt-in signs. Like, I just want to make sure that all of that stuff is clear and done by the same person. So there's not like the innovation sticker looks weird or looks like this, and the Balsam Falls sticker looks like this. Can we make sure that everything is like clearly about this social district thing when we go to do this marketing? So like, can we get some examples of how Kannapolis did their signage so that we like kind of know, how this is going to work? And then to Mary's point about like all of the downtown, most of downtown is not an alcohol establishment. So what, instead of having an opt-out sticker, we have an opt-in sticker so that like Livingston doesn't have to put his, all of his doors have, much more stickers on them. So
that's a great idea. I like that. And I have I brought a cup back from Kannapolis and took pictures of their signage. We'll have a little bit of a challenge in that Main Street's a state highway, and so we'll need to do some sort of ground decals for that. But for the most part, we can set the standard for the size of the sticker and things like that as well.
I'd be happy to be involved in like that sort of marketing of that, if you want some eyes on it.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
So what are our next steps here? You just need a consensus from the board to schedule a public hearing? It sounds like we're all in favor of this moving forward.
So we thought a public hearing February 10th would work if the board is comfortable with that. And I think the advertisement went out in the paper today.
Is that the same day as the public hearing for our ordinance?
Yes, it is. It's to try to get this in place by Brew Hop.
Okay. The only other question I had burning, Mary asked about the police. I just want to make sure it's not going to put an extra burden on Public Works. Jake, have you had any thoughts on that?
From what I've heard so far, I don't see anything too crazy. I mean, signage, if there's public signage, we're happy to hang that. And if it eases the beer garden burden at festivals, and I'm 100% in support of it. I haven't heard anything to discourage me about it. I appreciate the consideration though.
Thank you. Any other discussion? So I just think that it's it will be good to get this to the public hearing. So February 10th, is that what you said we're advertising?
Yes.
All right. Next on our agenda, I would ask if someone would do a motion to put us in closed session pursuant to the proper general statute.
I'll move that we go into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318-11A3. Consult with attorney.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Then Amanda, if you'll take our roll.
David,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Greg.
Yes.
So we will go to closed session. You have a separate Zoom to go to there. So we'll all go there.
We'll come back to this session.
And we come back to this
continue.
session. Yes.